I'm Richard Chandler, and I'm a licensed professional counselor in St. Cloud, Minnesota. My practice has been going since 2012. My underlying training was in both marriage and family therapy and in licensed professional clinical counseling. The main focus of my practice is working with couples, married, unmarried, engaged, and lesbian and gay couples as well. And couples have sought me out for a variety of difficulties. Some of them are communication difficulties, others are more serious, like infidelity. Generally, when I'm contacted, someone is really struggling. One of the couples is struggling, or perhaps both. And the idea is to come into a counseling process in which people are safe to share how they're really feeling and find a way forward if possible. And that's basically the nature of couples work. My job is to be neutral and compassionate and engaged with each person, and also to give some perspective on how you're actually interacting together and how that might be improved, so there's less defensiveness, there's less criticism, and there's more of a feeling of getting back to what brought you together originally as a romantic partnership. I work with all couples of whatever age, and gay and lesbian couples, as well as heterosexual couples. I specialize in working with men as well as couples. Men often have some challenges that are different than women have. Oftentimes, even the idea of going into counseling can be more difficult because they may feel that they're not understood, or feel that all people are going to ask them about is how they feel about something. And it's really more than that. It's about thoughts, it's about how one's life is working or not working so well. And there's a variety of areas that men seek out my help for. One of the major ones is anger, working with anger, and how to work with anger in a way that is not disempowering and disruptive for other people and even scary for other people. And instead, how to take frustration and have it be manageable and handled in a way that's actually productive, rather than escalating quickly into anger and having things said that were not helpful. Another area that I work with men is to be able to understand whether or not they want to really even stay in their primary relationship. Sometimes men don't want to go to couples counseling until they figure out themselves, do I really want to stay in this relationship or not? And I can help men sort through that in a very neutral way, in a way that is also fair to the person that's not present. A third area that I work with men in is ADD and ADHD. A lot of men struggle with this, and it really impacts their life when they have difficulties remembering things on a short-term basis and forgetting things, or spacing out. And this oftentimes really makes their life difficult, both in their work life and with their relationships. And there actually are ways to get way better with having structure in one's life and having techniques and tactics in which the ADD and ADHD is not so much of a problem. And in fact, we can take the positive aspects of that, which often are creativity and entrepreneurial kind of thinking, and help the person with those kinds of more strength-based ADD and ADHD ways of working. In working with ADD and ADHD, people often are already taking Adderall or Ritalin or one of those medications, and I actually don't deal with that. I deal instead with developing the strategies and structures for people's lives in which they can manage their lives easily and well, so forgetting things with frequency or spacing out is no longer so much of an issue. I do this with helping people identify how to create more structure in their lives and how to have ways of handling their lives where they're not relying on other people to be their short-term memory. One other area I work with men on is how to manage their emotional health and their relationships and connecting with other people, particularly the women in their lives who are their romantic partners. Oftentimes men have difficulty translating, if you will, what their romantic partner is really talking to them about, and in a way that they can actually respond effectively and in ways that their spouse or their romantic partner really understands. So I can help men with that communication part in working with women. I started my practice with career counseling and do a good deal of career counseling. People seek me out for this because they're either trying to look at some new possible careers, perhaps they're dissatisfied with where they're at, or they want to simply fine-tune what they bring to the table for occupation. The career process usually involves a couple of assessments, oftentimes a Myers-Briggs assessment, as well as what's called the Strong Interest Inventory. The assessments are not expensive, but they give us a lot of insight that we might not have without them. And we talk about what a person has already done in their lives, both their work life and in their personal life, and the kinds of things that they might have an interest in pursuing. And with all of that in mind, we map out some ways of proceeding that people appreciate, especially since they feel with the career counseling they're less likely to go down a path that actually doesn't make so much sense. People that have worked with me appreciate that I'm present and able to listen and really do my best to truly understand what they're going through and what their life is like. With that, we work collaboratively to take their strengths and some of the areas that have been troubling for them and find a way to work their strengths to manage those areas better and actually create a new way of being with themselves and with their relationships. I work differently than most counselors in that I do not work with insurance companies, and I do this for a reason. The first reason is confidentiality. With me, it is very confidential because nothing is uploaded to a network anywhere. Instead, all the data is contained within my office in the local area, and it's protected. A second reason is how I work. Because I'm not constrained by working on a mental health diagnosis, which you have to get in order for insurance companies to pay for the counseling, I can instead focus on you, your life, and the things that are important for you, your concerns, your troubles, your difficulties, and how to help you recreate your life in ways in which you can feel happy and successful and no longer troubled by whatever brought you into the counseling. Couples counseling is not covered by insurance because it's not a mental health illness to not get along with your spouse or your romantic partner. The best way to find out if it would make sense for us to work together is to simply contact me by text or give me a call or even by email and ask me anything you wish to ask me. There's no cost whatsoever for a short consultation. Once you know more of how I work and I know more of what you're seeking me out for, we can decide together whether it makes sense to work together. And during that time, we can also talk about the costs of counseling and frequency, those kinds of things that are important for you to know ahead of time. So I appreciate that you've taken the time to watch this video, and I'm hoping that if you do have some questions or concerns or have an interest in finding out more, that you will be in touch. Thanks.